For thousands of years, Earth had been the loudest planet in the galaxy. Every other species knew this about the humans. They were loud in every way, not just with their voices, but with their machines, their broadcasts, their wars, their music, and their constant hunger for attention. From the day humanity invented radio waves, the galaxy had been flooded with their signals. Alien civilizations first discovered humans not because they traveled far into space, but because their planet screamed its existence into the void. The humans sent out greetings, warnings, advertisements, jokes, and even strange noises they called music. They uploaded their entire culture into space without asking if anyone was listening. Some species admired humans for their courage. Others found them annoying, reckless, and dangerous. But no one could ignore them. Earth was the source of endless noise. Then, on a day that started like any other, all of it stopped. At first, the galactic monitoring stations thought it was a technical error. Earth's signals suddenly went dark. No radio waves, no quantum pulses, no hyperlight data streams, nothing. For the first time in centuries, the sky around Earth was silent. Alien satellites orbiting Earth went offline. The usual human trading ships stopped sending docking codes. Even the old entertainment broadcasts, movies, games, debates, and chaos were gone. Some alien stations tried to reconnect by sending direct messages, but there was no reply. Others tried scanning for emergency beacons, but there were none. Earth had always been noisy, messy, and alive. Now, it was silent. The news spread quickly across the galaxy. Every major civilization went into emergency meetings. Was this an accident? Did Earth suffer a catastrophic event? Had humanity destroyed itself? Or was something worse happening? The galaxy had learned not to underestimate humans. They were the most unpredictable species ever encountered. Alien observers sent drones and stealth probes to investigate, but the first drones disappeared. The second wave of probes sent back strange images before vanishing pictures of Earth's surface, still and empty. The cities were there, but no vehicles moved. No factories produced smoke. No lights shined from windows. The ocean seemed frozen in place, the clouds unmoving. It was as if the entire planet had paused in mid-breath. And then the images cut out. Some species panicked immediately. They believed Earth had finally triggered one of its many doomsday experiments. Others thought the humans had found a way to ascend to a higher dimension and leave the galaxy behind. A few hopeful diplomats wondered if humanity had just decided to go quiet to rest, to stop expanding. But no one really believed that. Humanity never stopped anything by choice. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered in the Grand Spire of Veliker, the Council's core station, to discuss the crisis. Fear spread quickly. Humanity had been the source of new technologies, dangerous ideas, and cultural shifts. They had upset galactic markets, redefined science, and even survived death world classifications. Their sudden silence meant only to possibilities. Either they were gone, or they were preparing something too big to announce. The Council debated sending military ships, but most agreed that was suicide. No one wanted to attack Earth without knowing what had happened. Some members demanded to send ambassadors, but the problem was that no ship returned from near-Earth space. Every vessel sent into the Sol system vanished. No distress signals, just pure disappearance. Then came the first real clue. A group of ancient alien monitors, the Carrick Watchers, covered a final human transmission buried in the galaxy's data streams. It had been sent milliseconds before Earth went silent. The message wasn't broadcast in the usual open channels. It was hidden, sent in a coded pulse through layers of dark data. Carrick decoded it and brought the message to the Council. It was simple, only one line. This is not the end of humanity. This is the next step. That was all. No coordinates, no instructions, no explanations. Just that sentence. The council chambers fell into heavy silence, heavier even than the quiet of Earth itself. What did it mean? Was humanity dead? Or had they evolved into something new? Is this a warning or an invitation? The galaxy's most powerful minds debated for hours, but no one had an answer. Theories flooded in from every corner of the universe. Some scientists believed humans had discovered a way to upload their consciousness into the fabric of the universe, escaping physical reality. Others thought it was a massive experiment gone wrong, a test of quantum time loops that had accidentally frozen the planet. More extreme voices suggested humans had finally triggered a technological singularity, a point where machines and biology became one, breaking the limits of life as the galaxy knew it. Meanwhile, back in space, something else happened. From Earth's surface, a structure began to rise. No one saw it being built. It simply started to appear, growing from the planet's core, stretching into orbit. Scans showed the structure wasn't made of metal or any known material. It pulsed with energy that didn't match any galactic signature. Its shape constantly shifted, like it was alive. Alien observers called it the Ascension Spire. Ships tried to scan it, but their systems failed. Some ships vanished just by getting too close. Others reported seeing things that couldn't be explained, visions of alternate timelines, flashes of unknown physics, and feelings of overwhelming dread or joy, depending on the mind of the observer. Some called it a doorway. Others called it a trap across the galaxy. Species held their breath. No one dared to make the first move. Traders stopped traveling near Earth's sector. Scientists locked themselves in labs trying to understand what had happened. Military leaders prepared for war, just in case. But the truth was simple and terrifying. No one knew what humanity was doing. And for the first time in galactic history, no one could predict what would happen next. Earth remained silent. The spire kept growing. The galaxy waited, caught between fear and fascination, unable to look away. In the darkness of the unknown, one question echoed through every mind. In the galaxy, what happens when the most dangerous species in the universe stops talking? Because they no longer need to. Days turned into weeks, and Earth stayed silent. No signals, no warnings, no explanations. The spire continued to grow from the planet's core, stretching beyond the atmosphere like a living thread weaving into space itself. Alien scanners reported strange data patterns, but no one understood them. The structure wasn't metal, stone, or energy as the galaxy knew it. It was something new, something beyond material classification. It shimmered in and out of visible dimensions, sometimes vanishing completely from radar before returning seconds later, longer and more complex. The spire seemed to breathe, expanding and contracting, like it was alive, like it was aware of the eyes watching it. Across the galaxy, entire civilizations paused their normal lives. Trade routes shut down. Scientific programs froze in place. All attention was locked on Earth. Species who had once ignored humans now focused on every bit of data coming from the Sol system, desperate to understand what was happening. But the truth was simple and terrifying. The galaxy had no answers. The Galactic Council tried to calm the population, broadcasting messages of patience and investigation, but no one was calm. Fear spread like wildfire. Some alien species remembered old warnings and ancient legends about death worlds, about species that reached too far and changed the universe itself. Humans had always been seen as dangerous, but also predictable in their chaos. Now, they were silent, and that silence was more terrifying than any war. In the past, humans argued loudly, broadcasted everything, joked about their mistakes, and turned disasters into entertainment. They were noisy because they were alive. But this new silence meant something had changed fundamentally. The galaxy wasn't just dealing with humans anymore. It was dealing with something after humanity. Alien fleets circled the outer edges of Earth's solar system, too afraid to get close, too afraid to leave. Probes sent to Earth's orbit vanished without explanation. Some returned damaged, broadcasting data that made no sense, symbols that no one could decode, images of cities overlaid with impossible geometry, and sometimes just a single frame. The image of a human eye, staring directly into the probe's camera, blinking once, then disappearing into static. The Council debated these findings for days. Were the humans warning the galaxy to stay back? Or were they inviting someone to come closer? The meaning was unclear. But fear kept most species frozen in place. Some civilizations tried to prepare. For the worst, military empires built defense fields around their home systems, hoping to protect themselves from unknown technology. Others built evacuation ships, ready to flee if Earth's new structure unleashed some kind of cosmic weapon. Religious sects rose overnight, claiming that humanity had reached godhood, that the silence was a sign of transcendence. New cults worshipped the spire, calling it the bridge to beyond. On planets thousands of light years away, alien crowds gathered in the streets, looking up at the sky, waiting for signs of the next step. Then came the dreams. Across dozens of star systems, individuals began reporting the same phenomenon shared. Visions during sleep. It started with humans, but quickly spread to other species. People dreamed of standing at the base of the spire, looking up into a sky filled with strange symbols. Some saw Earth splitting open, revealing a core of light. Others saw their own faces reflected in the spire's surface, but the faces weren't the same as they remembered. They were older, younger, or sometimes not even human or alien, at all something else entirely. Scientists tried to explain the shared dreams as stress responses, but the reports were too consistent, too detailed, and too synchronized across different species for coincidence. A few brave researchers suggested that the spire wasn't just a structure, it was a conscious system broadcasting on frequencies beyond physical reality. They proposed that humans had discovered a way to communicate not with technology, but with thought itself. Their silence wasn't silence, it was communication. At a level the rest of the galaxy couldn't yet understand. The Council dismissed these ideas at first, but when more data arrived, they couldn't ignore it. Energy readings from the spire showed patterns matching neural signals, similar to brain activity, but on a massive planetary scale. It was as if the Earth itself had become a living mind, a consciousness grown from human evolution. Some council members panicked, demanding immediate action. They wanted to launch preemptive strikes, to destroy the spire before it could grow any further. But others argued that attacking Earth now would be pointless, maybe even suicidal. No weapon could target what they couldn't define. No army could fight what they couldn't reach. The galaxy was facing not a military threat, but a dimensional shift, a change in the rules of existence. Humanity wasn't building weapons anymore. They were building something else, and that something was growing every second. Earth remained silent as the debates raged. New ships appeared at the edges of multiple galaxies, not near Earth but in systems far from Sol. These were echo ships, vessels clearly designed by humans but empty of life. They floated silently, broadcasting the same unknown symbols seen in the shared dreams. Alien interceptors scanned the ships but found no crew, no AI, no power sources. And yet the ships moved, navigated, and pulsed with signals that bent local spacetime. Some alien ships tried to capture them, but when they made contact, their crews experienced temporary insanity visions of alternate timelines, flashes of their own deaths and rebirths, entire lifetimes in seconds. When the alien crews recovered, they reported a single message received directly into their minds: "We are still here. We are everywhere now." The Council realized something horrifying. Earth's silence wasn't about hiding. It was about expansion into a new kind of existence. Humans had uploaded their consciousness beyond standard dimensions. The echo ships were just extensions of their new presence sent across the universe like ripples in a pond. The spire on Earth was the anchor point, the bridge between old reality and the new frontier. And yet, for all the fear, for all the confusion, the galaxy could do nothing but wait. There was no enemy to fight, no negotiation to begin, no trade to arrange. Humanity had stepped beyond the known universe, and the rest of the galaxy was left behind, caught in the terrifying quiet before whatever storm was coming next. In the stillness of space, one message kept repeating silently, not through machines, but through minds. This is not the end. This is the beginning of the new map. And the galaxy held its breath, knowing deep down that the universe's old rules were already gone. The galaxy had survived wars, plagues, collapses, and cosmic disasters. But nothing had prepared it for this, the soundless fear of not knowing what humanity had done. The silence from Earth continued, but silence wasn't empty anymore. It was heavy, like a storm in the distance that no one could see, but everyone could feel. Governments shut down normal operations. Scientists worked day and night trying to decode the strange symbols sent by the echo ships. On hundreds of alien worlds, people woke in the middle of the night shaking from the same dreams. Dreams of the Spire, dreams of alternate realities. Dreams where the humans whispered in voices too big for language. They weren't speaking through mouths anymore. They were speaking through space itself, in this atmosphere of rising panic. The Galactic Council made one final attempt to communicate directly with Earth. They built a relay system designed to reach beyond normal frequencies. Act using experimental communication methods designed for emergencies. They sent the message in every known language, including the human languages they had collected over centuries. The message was simple: we need to understand what is happening. Please respond. Then they waited. Days passed. Nothing happened. Then, without warning, signal arrived not through standard channels, but directly into the minds of the council members. It wasn't a spoken message. It was a memory. Shared experience, forced into their consciousness. One moment, they were sitting in the Grand Spire chamber. The next, they were standing on Earth's surface. In front of the growing spire, the sky was filled with shifting lights, stars bending in impossible ways. The air vibrated with frequencies they could not hear but could somehow feel it. Then a human voice spoke not out loud, but inside their minds. The voice was calm, steady, and unafraid. It said, "We are not gone. We are not dead. We have expanded." The memory continued. The council members saw flashes of the final human experiments, labs working on neural energy fields. Scientists stepping into machines that merged consciousness with space-time. They watched as human minds left their bodies, their thoughts, flowing into the spire, feeding it, powering it. They saw Earth's oceans freezing in time, cities glowing with light from inside walls, plants absorbing information instead of sunlight. The last human transmission wasn't just a message, it was a record of transformation. The council understood now. The humans had chosen to leave behind the physical universe. They had found a way to upload themselves into the fabric of reality itself, but the message didn't end there. The human voice continued, "We are beyond your dimensions now. But we remember you. We are not hostile. We are not rulers. We are explorers, and the journey has just begun." Then the memory shattered, and the council members found themselves back in their seats, gasping for breath. Some cried, others screamed. A few sat silently, staring into nothing. It wasn't just what they had seen, it was what they had felt. Humanity had reached a state of existence where matter, time, and thought were the same thing. They hadn't destroyed their bodies. They had evolved beyond needing them. The council debated what to do next. Some leaders wanted to declare this a galactic emergency and prepare for the worst. Others wanted to join the humans, but they had no idea how. The technology required to upload consciousness wasn't something the rest of the galaxy had mastered. And now, with Earth locked behind the growing spire, the chance to learn directly from humans seemed impossible. The spire wasn't sending instructions. It was broadcasting something else, an invitation, but without a map. Species that tried to copy human experiments failed. Some caused local collapses in physics. Others triggered mental breakdowns in their test subjects. The pathway to post-human existence wasn't open to outsiders, at least not yet. Meanwhile, echo ships continued to appear in new star systems. Each one carried parts of the same message, but the parts weren't words or data, they were experiences. When alien ships connected with an echo ship, their crews went through vision states. Some lived out alternate versions of their lives in seconds. Some saw entire civilizations rise and fall. Some came back changed, unable to speak of what they'd seen except for one common sentence: the humans are building the next universe. On distant worlds, alien philosophers argued about what this meant. Some said humans had created a virtual dimension, a simulation so advanced that it felt like reality. Others believed humans had merged with the laws of physics, becoming part of the universe's operating system. A few whispered that this was the end of the galaxy as everyone knew it. Not through war, but through replacement. The old universe was being overwritten by a new structure, and the Spire was the gateway. The Galactic Council tried to maintain order, but fear spread faster than leadership. Entire populations abandoned their home systems, seeking safety in isolation zones far from Earth sector, but even those zones weren't safe from the dreams, the visions, the whispers that reached them during sleep. No corner of the galaxy was untouched. The message was everywhere. The last human transmission had done more than inform, it had infected. The idea of post-physical life, of moving beyond the body and beyond reality, was now inside every mind. And once an idea like that takes hold, there is no way to go back. On Earth, the Spire continued to grow. It wrapped itself around the planet like a second atmosphere, shimmering in patterns no one could decode. Alien sensors picked up strange gravitational pulses, as if Earth was slowly detaching itself from the galaxy's standard space-time grid. Some predicted the planet would soon disappear entirely, not through destruction, but through dimensional migration. Humanity wasn't just leaving, they were taking Earth with them, turning it into the seed of a new kind of universe. And yet, through all the fear and wonder, the final message remained simple. The last human transmission wasn't a threat. It wasn't even a warning. It was a statement of fact. This is not the end of humanity. This is the next step. Join us when you're ready. But the galaxy wasn't ready. Not yet. I watched, waited, and wondered what comes after a species leaves reality behind. The galaxy had always believed in distance as safety. Wars could be avoided by moving to the far edges of space. Dangerous species could be contained by staying away from their sectors. Natural disasters could be escaped by colonizing new star systems. But now, with the humans gone silent and their spire still growing around Earth, distance had become meaningless. Fear spread not because Earth was close, but because the consequences of what humanity had done were already everywhere. It started slowly, strange signals from deep space. Echoes of human languages stretched and folded into patterns that no translator could break. Then came the echo ships. The first echo ship appeared at the edge of the Andorian sector, thousands of light years from Earth. It arrived without warning. No engine trails, no warp signatures, no energy footprints. One moment, the space near the Andorian system was empty. The next, there it was, black and silver vessel, smooth and shifting like liquid metal. Its surface reflected not the stars around it, but other realities. Some aliens reported seeing their own planets in the ship's hull, but with changes, alternate versions of their homeworlds, with cities they had never built, creatures they had never seen, and skies that were unfamiliar. Others saw nothing but darkness in the reflections, as if the ship carried the shadow of the universe itself. The Andorians sent a military fleet to investigate. Their ships surrounded the echo ship, scanning it from every angle. No life forms were detected, no weapon systems, no heat signatures. Yet the ship was active, humming with soft pulses of unknown energy. The Andorian fleet commander gave the order to board the vessel. A group of soldiers approached the hull, but before they could make contact, they vanished. No alarms, no screams, just sudden, silent disappearance. Seconds later, the fleet's entire communication network collapsed. Every screen, every speaker, every neural interface in the Andorian fleet flashed with the same image, a single human eye open, staring directly into them. The eye blinked once, and the systems came back online. But nothing was the same after that. The Andorian soldiers who had touched the echo ship were never found. The ships that had scanned it returned home, but their crews were changed. Scans showed no damage, but the crew members refused to speak. When they finally did, they described visions that no one could understand, cities made of time, oceans of thought, planets where gravity was music. Some spoke of standing inside the spire on Earth, even though they had never been near the Sol system. Others whispered of seeing themselves in the future or in the past, or as something no longer physical. The Andorian government declared a state of emergency, but by then, it was too late. More Echo ships began to appear across the galaxy. In the Sarek cluster, 3 Echo ships arrived simultaneously. Positioned exactly at the triangle points of a star map that didn't match normal space. In the Cora Drift, an Echo ship hovered near a black hole unaffected by gravity. On the edges of the Gorthan Expanse, Echo ships floated near ancient ruins, as if studying the history of the universe itself. Everywhere they went, they followed the same pattern: no weapons, no messages, no demands, just presence. And in every case, those who encountered them experienced visions. Echoes of alternate realities and strange, shared thoughts that didn't belong to any known species. The Galactic Council tried to analyze the ships. The best scientists of hundreds of species worked together, but the Echo ships didn't follow the known laws of physics. Their materials couldn't be scanned. Energy sources couldn't be traced. They appeared and disappeared at will, sometimes vanishing into what seemed like folds in space, other times simply fading from view as if stepping sideways into a reality that normal eyes couldn't see. Attempts to attack them failed. Weapons fired at Echo ships passed through them harmlessly or bent away as if time itself rejected the idea of violence. Diplomats attempted to communicate. They sent probes carrying peaceful messages, offers of alliance, and questions about the Spire, but the Echo ships responded in only one way: by sending experiences directly into the minds of those who tried to reach them, not words. Experiences. Some aliens felt what it was like to be human during the final moments of Earth's transformation. Others lived through alternate versions of their own species' history, where humanity had never existed, only to realize that even in those versions, something similar still happened. A species broke the rules of reality and evolved beyond the galaxy. It was as if the Echo ships were teaching a lesson. This wasn't about humanity anymore. It was about what came next for everyone. Religious groups declared the Echo ships sacred. Entire populations gathered in orbit around them, hoping for enlightenment. Some went mad from the visions. Others claimed they had been healed of diseases or given new senses, like the ability to feel gravitational waves as emotion, or to perceive time as color. On some worlds, leaders tried to ban contact with the ships, but curiosity always won. People lined up to experience the visions, to touch the unknown, to feel what it was like to step outside normal reality for even a second. Meanwhile, the Spire kept growing, wrapping around the planet like a cocoon. The Echo ships were clearly connected to it, like seeds sent out from the main structure. The Council realized that Earth wasn't just silent anymore. It was echoing through the universe, rewriting the way information and consciousness worked. Humanity hadn't disappeared. They had become something new, and they were testing the galaxy, preparing it for a choice. In secret council meetings, leaders argued about what to do next. Should they try to stop the Echo ships? Should they find a way to copy human technology? Or should they accept that the galaxy was no longer in control of its own evolution? Some feared that the Echo ships were a form of invasion, not with weapons, but with ideas too big for the mind to handle. Others believed this was a natural step in galactic growth. After all, life always evolved, always changed. The problem was, no one had expected this kind of change to happen so soon. At the end of each debate, one truth remained. The Echo ships weren't leaving. They hovered in the skies of thousands of systems, waiting silently, pulsing with strange light. They weren't asking for permission. They weren't offering deals. They were just there, impossible to ignore. And across the stars, species asked themselves the same terrifying question. Were the Echo ships a warning or an invitation? The galaxy had spent months watching Earth's silence stretch into an endless void. The Spire grew, the Echo ships multiplied, and everywhere, fear and curiosity swirled like a storm. But one question burned brighter than all the rest. What happened to the humans? Where were they? Had they truly vanished? Or were they hiding in a way no one could understand? Rumors spread quickly, fed by desperate hope and creeping dread. Some believed humans had died out, destroyed by their own. Experiments, others whispered. That humanity had become something else, something beyond the limits of biology or technology. The truth was more terrifying, deep within the Galactic Council's restricted archives. A hidden message was uncovered, forgotten data buried in encrypted files that only the oldest records could unlock. It wasn't a broadcast, not a radio signal, but a vast mental imprint, carried across dimensions and stored in layers of quantum memory. The message wasn't meant for the galaxy, but it was accidentally leaked during a system scan. The message revealed a secret no one was prepared for. Humans had uploaded themselves, every single one, into a new plane of existence. They were not dead. They were not hiding in physical ships or bunkers. They'd left their bodies behind. Shedding flesh and metal like old skin, became pure consciousness streams of thought flowing through the very fabric of space and time. This new form of life was impossible to measure or detect with any alien technology. The humans existed as a collective mind, a vast neural network spanning dimensions unseen. The Spire wasn't a prison or a fortress, it was a gateway. It's a launching point for this new existence. The Council's top scientists scrambled to understand what this meant. How did humans do this? How could a species break free of physical reality? The answer was hidden in the human data archives recovered from before the silence. Humans had been experimenting with neural interface technology for decades. But in their final years, they had made a breakthrough, a way to convert consciousness into pure energy and information. They called it the Ascension Protocol. Instead of dying, humans transferred their minds into a vast interdimensional network that connected all of them at once. The Spire was the physical anchor, but their true home was everywhere and nowhere. Alien historians dug through human culture to find clues. They found stories of the singularity, a mythical moment when humans would transcend their bodies and become something greater. They found warnings, jokes, even art depicting beings made of light and sound. It was no longer fiction, it was reality. But this new humanity was different from the noisy, chaotic species that had filled the galaxy. With sound and life, they were quiet now, a vast hive of consciousness that no one could reach except through the echo ships. In desperation, the Council sent envoys to try and communicate with the humans on this new plane, using experimental quantum interfaces. They attempted to connect minds, to speak to the consciousness behind the Spire. The attempts failed. The human collective was vast and complex, far beyond anything alien minds could match. Sometimes they received fragments of thought, flashes of emotions, visions of endless stars and rivers of light. But full communication was impossible. The humans weren't just missing. They were beyond reach. Meanwhile, on worlds touched by the echo ships, the influence of the missing humans grew stronger. Some species experienced strange awakenings, a sudden increase in intelligence, creativity, and empathy. Others felt overwhelmed by the presence, as if their own minds were being pulled toward the same fate. The idea of ascension spread like wildfire. Entire populations began preparing to follow the humans, hoping to escape physical limitations and join the great consciousness beyond. Not everyone was ready or willing. Some saw the ascension as a curse, a loss of individuality, a surrender to an unknowable collective. Religious groups clashed over the meaning of the missing humans. Some declared the ascended as gods. Others called them demons. Tensions rose as planets divided between those wanting to join the new existence and those wanting to remain grounded in the physical universe. Amid this turmoil, a small group of humans who had resisted ascension were found. They were the last. Physicals, people who had chosen to remain in their bodies rather than upload their minds. Hidden in secret bunkers and remote colonies, they had survived the Great Upload event. These survivors told stories of the final days on Earth, of fear, the hope, the final moments when humanity decided to leave their physical shells behind. They spoke of the Spire not as a cage, but as a bridge and invitation to become more than flesh and blood. They warned that the process was irreversible and that those who stayed behind faced extinction or worse, the last. Physicals became the galaxy's most wanted and feared group. Some saw them as the true humans, the last, hoped to understand what had happened. Others considered them dangerous relics, a reminder of a past that had to be forgotten. The Council struggled to protect them, knowing their knowledge could be the key to future contact. As the spire neared completion, the galaxy stood on the edge of transformation. The missing humans were no longer missing. They had become something new, something vast and unknowable. And as the galaxy watched, waiting for the next signal, one thing was clear: the age of humanity, as the galaxy knew it, was over. What came next was a question no one could answer yet. As the spire around Earth completed its final growth, spreading like a glowing shell of unknown power, the galaxy was already reeling from another new terror: the fear virus. It was unlike any biological or technological threat faced before. This virus wasn't made of cells or code. It was a contagion of the mind, a psychic infection that spread silently through thoughts and dreams. Carried by the echo ships and the very waves of space-time, twisted by humanity's transformation, the fear virus was born from the unknown, a deep instinctual dread that gripped entire civilizations, spreading faster than light and harder to detect than any weapon. The first signs appeared in isolated colonies far from Earth's system. Individuals began reporting strange symptoms, nightmares that didn't fade after waking, whispers that echoed inside their minds, and a growing sense of paranoia that couldn't be explained. At first, doctors thought it was a new psychological disorder caused by the stress of the Earth's silence and the echo ship encounters. But as more cases appeared across species and star systems, it became clear this was something different, something external and alive. Victims of the fear virus described visions of endless darkness filled with shifting shadows. They heard human voices, not spoken but felt, warning them, accusing them, pleading for help. Some saw flashes of the spire's surface, its ever-changing geometry, a place both beautiful and terrifying. The virus fed on fear itself, twisting thoughts into spirals of despair and confusion. It was as if humanity's final transformation had left behind a trace, a psychic imprint that continued to haunt the galaxy like a ghost. The Galactic Council formed a task force to study the virus. Scientists discovered that the fear virus wasn't a traditional infection. It wasn't biological, digital, or quantum. Instead, it was a mimetic virus, a pattern of thought that infected minds, replicated through ideas and emotions. It was the first time the galaxy had encountered a virus that spread through consciousness itself. The more a mind struggled against it, the stronger the virus grew. Attempts to isolate or quarantine infected individuals failed because the virus didn't respect physical boundaries. It moved through dreams, telepathic links, and even subtle electromagnetic fields. Worse, the fear virus seemed linked to the echo ships. Every new appearance of an echo ship was followed by outbreaks of the virus on nearby worlds. Scientists theorized that the ships emitted low-level psychic signals as a byproduct of their interdimensional travel. These signals interacted with the latent human consciousness still bound to the spire, creating a resonance that triggered the fear virus. It was a side effect of humanity's evolution, a reminder that even transcendent existence carried risks. The virus sparked panic across the galaxy. Planets sealed their borders. Communication between star systems dropped, as leaders feared the virus could spread through networked minds.
Ow.
Religious leaders called it a curse from the ascended humans, a test of faith or a punishment for those left behind. Some civilizations attempted mass meditation rituals or psychic cleansing ceremonies, hoping to purge the infection. Others resorted to isolation, cutting off all neural networks to stop the virus's spread. But isolation was impossible. The fear virus found new ways to reach its victims through dreams, through art, even through music. Infected individuals sometimes created strange patterns in their work symbols that, once seen, carried the virus to others. It was as if the virus was evolving, learning to use culture itself as a transmission method. Entire societies became paranoid of sharing information or creative expression, fearing it might carry infection. Amid the chaos, a small group of alien researchers and psychic specialists worked secretly to find a cure. They discovered that the virus's strength came from fear itself. If an infected mind could overcome terror and replace it with calm and understanding, the virus weakened. Meditation, trust, and empathy became weapons against the fear virus. These researchers began teaching these techniques, creating safe zones where infected individuals could recover through shared support. However, the virus was not just a threat, it was also a message. The psychic patterns contained fragments of human consciousness, echoes of their final thoughts. In fears during the ascension, it was as if humanity's departure left behind a warning. Transcendence was not a perfect escape. It came with loss, confusion, and the deep terror of leaving everything known behind. The fear virus was humanity's shadow, a reminder of what was sacrificed to become more than flesh. As the galaxy struggled with this new plague, the spire pulsed steadily from Earth. The ascended humans remained unreachable, their vast consciousness. Beyond physical reality, their legacy, the fear virus was a reminder that evolution was never without cost. The galaxy faced a choice: to fight fear with fear, or to rise beyond it. In the quiet spaces between stars, a single question echoed. In every infected mind, are we ready to face what humanity left behind? The galaxy, once a place of uneasy alliances and endless exploration, was now fractured. The silence of Earth and the arrival of the echo ships had changed everything. But the true fracture came not from weapons or politics, but from fear and hope to forces pulling civilizations in opposite directions. The fear virus spread through minds like wildfire, but what it did inside those minds varied. Some were broken, while others were awakened. This split the galaxy into two clear camps: those who sought to embrace the ascension, to join humanity's new existence beyond the physical, and those who feared it, wanting to protect the old universe, the universe of flesh, stars, and known laws. Planets divided, families divided, even entire species found themselves at war with themselves. The pro-ascension groups called themselves the New Dawn, preaching that the future was beyond bodies and stars, that true freedom lay in shedding flesh and becoming part of the great collective consciousness. They built temples and schools teaching meditation techniques to prepare for the transformation. They welcomed the echo ships as guides, seeing in them the promise of enlightenment. On many worlds, New Dawn members formed communes, sharing experiences of the fear virus as a trial on the path to greatness. Opposing them were the earthbound, those who clung to physical existence and feared the loss of individuality. To them, the ascended humans were not gods or guides, but ghosts that haunted the galaxy. Earthbound leaders warned of losing everything that made life precious: memories, emotions, even the beauty of pain. They saw the fear virus as a weapon, something to be fought with science and strength. On many planets, earthbound militias formed, guarding cities and borders against New Dawn influence. Propaganda spread, painting the ascension as a kind of death, a trap that erased the soul. The Galactic Council found itself powerless to stop the divide. Its members were split, too, torn between curiosity and caution. Some leaders openly joined, the New Dawn disappearing from public view as they sought the path of transcendence. Others doubled down on military and scientific efforts to control or eliminate the fear virus and block the echo ships. The Council's halls became battlegrounds of ideology, while outside, ordinary citizens chose sides in growing numbers. In the midst of this chaos, a new faction emerged: the Mediators. Neither fully earthbound nor New Dawn, they believed the future was not in choosing one side, but in understanding both. They traveled the galaxy, seeking to bridge the gap between factions, spreading messages of unity and balance. Mediators studied the fear virus in the echo ships, hoping to find a way for physical and post-physical life to coexist. They believed the humans who had ascended had not forgotten the galaxy, but had moved beyond old conflicts. The Mediators hoped to find a path back to communication, to reconnect the two halves of existence. But the divide only deepened. The fear virus grew stronger where New Dawn influence was weakest. and military conflicts broke out on planets where old fears could not be calmed. On some worlds, New Dawn and Earthbound fighters clashed in streets and skies. Cities burned, families were torn apart, old alliances shattered as species chose sides, fearing that the Ascension was either the galaxy's salvation or its doom. Amidst the growing conflict, strange phenomena began to appear near the spire. Earth's planet-wide structure started to pulse irregularly, sending waves of energy that bent reality near the Sol system. Some scientists claimed these were signals, attempts at communication. Others feared they were signs that the ascended humans were preparing the next stage, something that might change the galaxy forever, or end it. The mediators feared that the divide and conflict would prevent the galaxy from being ready for what was coming. And then, a single, silent event shocked all sides. A New Dawn leader, known for her fiery speeches and visions of light, vanished without a trace during a public broadcast. At the same moment, an Earthbound general known for his distrust of the Ascended died of an unexplained heart failure. Mediators discovered that both were connected. Both had been touched by the fear virus, but had managed to overcome its terror. Reaching a state of deep awareness beyond both factions, they were now linked in a way no one understood. This event sparked hope among the mediators, and fear among both New Dawn and Earthbound factions. It suggested there was more to the Ascension than simple transformation, perhaps a third way, a new path that could reunite the galaxy's divided souls. But to find it, the galaxy had to survive the rising storm of conflict and fear, first as stars flickered and ships moved between divided worlds. The galaxy faced its greatest test. Could it heal the divide before the next phase of humanity's evolution reshaped everything? The galaxy stood on the edge of a transformation unlike any it had ever seen before. The ancient stars still shone, but the way forward was unclear. The spire around Earth pulsed with silent energy, a beacon that no one fully understood. Echo ships drifted through space, carrying fragments of humanity's last thoughts and the mysteries of post-physical existence. The factions New Dawn, Earthbound, and the mediators each believed they held the truth, yet none could see the whole picture. The galaxy needed a new map not of stars, but of realities, of consciousness, and of the paths beyond physical life. In the heart of the Galactic Council, a secret project began. A team of the best scientists, philosophers, and empathic minds from all species gathered. Their goal was not to fight or conquer, but to chart the new frontier humanity had left behind. Using combined alien technology and recovered human data, they constructed a device called the Reality Navigator, a tool designed to explore dimensions beyond normal space and to map the terrain of consciousness itself. The Reality Navigator was unlike any machine before it. It could tune into the faintest ripples of thought in the universe, detect patterns in the fabric of reality, and translate the signals of the echo ships into visual and emotional experiences. When the team first activated it, the room filled with shifting colors, sounds, and shapes that defied explanation. It was like staring into the heartbeat of the cosmos, a dance of light and shadow, order and chaos. As the navigator began to chart the territories beyond physical existence, it revealed stunning and frightening truths. Humanity's ascension had opened doors to realms where time folded back on itself, where thoughts shaped matter, and where individual identities merged into vast rivers of shared experience. The spire was a gateway, but also a seed, the beginning of a new kind of universe growing alongside the old one. The team learned that the echo ships were not just messengers, but scouts, sending pieces of the new reality to prepare other species for their own transformations. Some species were ready and eager, others terrified and resistant. The navigator showed that reality was no longer fixed, was becoming fluid, shaped by the consciousness of those who inhabited it. But with this knowledge came warning. The transition would not be easy or safe. Species that rushed too fast risked losing themselves, becoming lost in the currents of thought and time. Others might fall prey to the fear virus or become trapped in endless loops of memory and emotion. The new map was a guide, but it was incomplete. The final journey was still unknown. The Mediator's New Dawn. Earthbound factions watched the project with mixed feelings. The New Dawn saw the Navigator as a key to enlightenment, proof that their path was the future. The Earthbound feared it as a tool of destruction, evidence that the galaxy was being pulled toward an end of physical life. The Mediators hoped it would help them find balance, a way for all beings to choose their own paths without war. Then, a breakthrough came. The Navigator detected a faint signal from within the spire itself, something alive and aware, waiting to communicate. Using the Navigator, the team projected a message into the spire's dimension, asking for contact, for guidance, for understanding. The response was subtle but clear, a wave of shared memories, feelings of welcome, and an invitation. The humans who had ascended were reaching out not as conquerors or gods, but as explorers and friends. They offered a choice: to join them in the new universe or to remain in the old, each respected and honored. The galaxy was no longer just stars and planets. It was now a crossroads of existence, a place where reality itself could be shaped by those brave enough to step beyond. As the message spread, the factions hesitated. Old fears battled new hopes. But the Navigator's new map was a promise that whatever choice was made, the galaxy could find a way forward without losing its soul. The future was open, and for the first time in centuries, hope shone brighter than fear. The galaxy held its breath, waiting for the next step, ready to chart the unknown, together or apart. Forever changed by the species that had broken the system and shown that even silence could speak volumes.